Hello, everybody, and welcome to our special winter edition of the Beths book podcast.
Hope your day is going great so far, and hopefully this makes it better.
Now, today we'll be going through the books that we'll be reading today, a book review, and in addition to that, we'll be interviewing some special guests. We'll have our question of the episode and our TBR.
Also, we'll be delving deeper into Christmas history, how people in the world celebrate, and what the message of Christmas actually is.
Luke, what does it actually mean? Let's find out in today's episode.
If there is any book I could suggest for the book of the month, it would be Stanley Weintraub's Silent Night. This book describes the 1914 Christmas truce during World War I, where enemy soldiers left their trenches to exchange gifts, sing carols, bury the dead, and even play football on no man's land, which is where they were fighting. Which shows how even if there's a war on a massive scale, you could still have humanity, you could still have peace, you can still have fun times. But in the end, this book also shows how commanders forced their troops to return after Christmas, and that's how the fighting continued.
Hello and welcome to the book reading section of the Best Book Podcast Christmas Edition. I'm reading an extract from the book 10 Days of Christmas by Steve Cole. It's about the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who, one of my favourite shows. I'm going to read you an extract from Chapter 5, known as The Christmas Blessing. A short time later, the Doctor, packaged uncomfortably in his unit issue spacesuit, was making his way to the launch pad with Elise and the rest of the contacts team. As he strode along the docking tunnel towards the waiting spacecraft, it suddenly struck him how the pulp paperback illustrators and comic book artists of the 1940s and 1950s Earth had predicted the look of future spacecraft so accurately. The Benton was a little more than an upright cylinder with a blunt conical nose resting on four spindly legs. A far cry from the streamlined aircraft-like trappings of the space shuttles that have paved the way for humanity's early years in space exploration. His musings were interrupted by the comms of his suit came online. "Doctor," said Colonel Peshawar, her voice clear in his earpiece. "The Earth Security Council have issued new directive. If you cannot make contact and establish that our visitors have no hostile intentions, they will launch a preemptive strike." "What?" the Doctor groaned. "Colonel, promise me you'll do all you can to avert that. Left in the dark, nothing I say is going to make a blind bit of difference to that decision, Doctor. But if you can find a reason to dissuade them, I'll be in touch," he promised. "Looks like it's all on me." The Colonel gave a humorless laugh. "You don't pay into that pension fund of yours for nothing, you know. Peshawar out." That is the end of the book, and please, if you want to know what happens at the end, buy Doctor Who, The 10 Days of Christmas by Steve Cole.
Now, for the main topic of the episode, which is where Christmas originated from and how people around the world celebrate it. Let's see how Christmas is celebrated around the world. I've had a friend of mine pick out a few interesting traditions they found out, and I'm going to read them out to you now. So firstly, in Japan, eating KFC is often a popular Christmas Eve tradition. Oh, I didn't know. That's actually really interesting. Because usually you'd be eating KFC for a normal dinner or something, but in Japan they eat it overall fried chicken as a Christmas Eve tradition. That seems pretty interesting. This tradition actually started back in 1970s, where it actually started because of a brilliant marketing campaign by KFC, because in Japan back then, Christmas wasn't a national holidays, and most foreigners when traveling to Japan, they missed having turkey and stuff for Christmas. So the manager at the time, Takashi Okawara, thought that chicken could be a great replacement. So then he started advertising chicken everywhere, and this is how the tradition came to be, where people ate KFC on Christmas Eve. Okay, so the next one, Philippines. They are known for their paroles, which are giant star-shaped lanterns, and a long Christmas season, which they start celebrating from September. These paroles actually symbolized hope and faith, and actually came from the Spanish word farol, which means lanterns. This tradition started when the Filipinos first started trading with the Chinese, where they encountered the paper lanterns for the first time, which were actually used as simple lights for hospitality back then. But then when the Spanish came, they became linked to Christmas for like a light source for the 9-day Simbang Gabi or dawn masses leading to Christmas. And yeah, earlier versions of these were often like rectangular or oblong, and they were made of mainly like bamboo and paper. But when the American came, they actually changed it to the 5-pointed star, which symbolizes the Star of Bethlehem. This emerged around 1908, and since then it's been slightly modified to have like batteries and stuff inside, and this is where the paroles actually stand today. And in Iceland, children received gifts from the 13 mischievous Yule lads and face a spooky Yule cat. So, the Yule lads of Iceland actually came from 17th century tales, where the sons of mischievous ogresses and her lady husband actually came down the mountains one by one in 13 nights before Christmas to cause trouble, like stealing food and stuff. But now that tale has slowly been transitioned to where they leave small gifts in children's shoes, so it's been like softened over time. Although this was mainly influenced by Santa Claus, who made their role shift from being purely menacing thieves to pranksters who bring small kids gifts or leave potatoes for naughty kids, which gives them their unique traits and their mischievous names. Next, in Venezuela, people roller skate to early morning church services on Christmas Eve. So it looks like they're taking more of a religious initiative here, but still, it's a lot different to what I'd see around in the UK. This tradition actually started back in the 1950s as a way for kids to use their new Christmas gifts, like skates and skateboards, in parties where, because of the tropical climate in Venezuela, as there is no snow, roller skating actually became a perfect outdoor activity for the December weather, which turned into a citywide and even a nationwide event. In Sweden, they featured a large straw galvgoat, which seems a bit similar to Iceland, where they have like a different figure representing Christmas. Now, the galvgoat actually originated in the city called Galv, which is in Sweden, in 1966 as a marketing stunt by Stig Galvden to draw shoppers to the city centre, and this was inspired by a traditional small straw Christmas goat called Gelbox. Let's see this last one here. In Austria and Germany, St. Nicholas is accompanied by the menacing Krampus, who punishes naughty children. Oh, so it's like the opposite of Santa, where Santa would give good people gifts, but here St. Nicholas would punish the naughty children. Oh, that's a lot of really interesting traditions I've never known before. So this is how Christmas is celebrated around the world.
Hey guys, it's me, Ashrael, and today you guys are going to be learning about the history of Santa and Christian views of Christmas. Some people may know that Santa is a legendary figure who is the patron of Christmas that gives presents to good people all over the world from the night of the 24th of December to the morning of the 25th. But not many people actually know the origins of the Jolly Fat Man, but I'm here to tell you that. Now, in the 4th century, there was a bishop called St. Nicholas. This bishop was very generous and loved giving gifts to children, and this tradition spread all across Europe. This was also turned into a Dutch tradition called Sinterklaas, Sinterklaas. That's right, spelled with a K. Now, Dutch settlers brought this tradition to America, where they took a big step in promotion during the 1990s with poems, products, and even Coca-Cola as well. Now this is worldwide today, and everybody loves him. Now, this is the bit where I'm going to tell you about the Christian origins of Christmas. Now, if you break down Christmas, you can see that it has two different syllables, Christ and Mass. Christ is spelled the same way as Christ, which is Christ. This is to show the birth of Jesus Christ on that specific day, the Lord and Savior of the denomination, of every single denomination within the religion of Christianity. And Mass, it means people, the gathering of people under one roof, celebrating the birth of Jesus in church, anywhere, maybe even your house to have a party or something, anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you are, as long as you acknowledge that Jesus was born. If you are a Christian or Catholic within this denomination, you need to be able to acknowledge the fact that Jesus was born and the world is now saved from all the terror that was going on beforehand. And that's the Christian origins of Christmas and Santa's origins as well. Have a good one.
Bertie, what does Christmas actually mean to you?
To me, Christmas is about spending time with family and doing what you really love. So whether that be cooking, whether that be painting, whether that be reading, Christmas is just really about having fun and spending time with each other.
That's such a nice way to think about Christmas, Bertie. Now, how about you, Finley?
To me, Christmas is a time about being with family. Having a nice time sitting in watching a Christmas movie like Nativity or Home Alone with a hot chocolate under a blanket. And a chocolate. Lots of chocolate.
Ooh, that sounds so relaxing, Finley. Now, what about you, dear viewer? How do you celebrate Christmas? What do you think about Christmas? Or if you don't celebrate it, how do you spend your holiday? Now, for those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, Ashmael will now interview Mr. Ahmed on his daily routine over the holiday season.
Thank you for your time, sir, for speaking in our special winter themed podcast.
Thank you for having me, Ashrael.
Yeah, alright, so what would your winter break routine actually look like?
So my winter break routine starts at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Or 4:30 in the morning. Yeah,
During the winter break?
100%.
Alright.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning. What does it look like is I get up in the morning and I try and pray at home. Okay, and I try and do a little bit of reading.
Alright.
Once that's done, I usually go downstairs. I have some apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
I pour a little bit of apple cider vinegar inside maybe a tiny bit of water, just to dilute it a little bit.
It's like boost your mood a little bit throughout the day.
It does, and it's good for your gut health as well.
Alright.
It's good for the gut health. Tastes horrible though. I wouldn't recommend having it on its own.
Yeah.
As it will probably incinerate your throat.
Alright, fair enough.
So hence why you should dilute it with water.
Yeah.
After I've done that, I usually don't have breakfast. So my winter routine will be I will then drive to the mosque,
Yeah.
pray in the mosque.
Yeah.
At this time it will usually be about 6:30 or 6:45.
Alright, yeah.
After that's done, because I've got a bit more time now, because I don't have to come to work,
Yeah.
I will probably sit in the mosque. I'll try my best to sit in the mosque and just take some time to reflect,
Yeah.
journal, and do a little bit of reading.
Alright.
And then after that, and by the way, and this is all done, I will come home, I'll drive home, and it should be, depending on how productive I've been within the mosque, and if I've had a fruitful morning, it could be 7:30, it could be 8 o'clock, it could be 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it starts at 4:30, and then I'll try to be home. But it just depends on how productive I am in the morning.
yeah.
We'll say 8 o'clock on average, and that's when I'll come home. I will cut 7 ajwa dates. Do you know what ajwa dates are?
No, would you like to enlighten us on the odd?
I will do, yeah. Ajwa dates basically, so you know what a date is?
Yeah.
A date is obviously, you know, the fruit, a date,
Yeah.
like a dried fruit, which like they're mainly grown in like the Middle Eastern region.
Yeah.
And it's had sort of as a staple in the Middle Eastern region, and
Yeah.
you get different varieties of dates, just like how you would have any other fruit.
Apples,
Yeah, just like apples and oranges, you
Right.
get different varieties, and the ajwa date is a very specific variety. And I have 7 of those in the morning, and that is it for the day.
So how tasty would they be, sir?
They are the best thing in the world.
Alright. So sir, do you travel out or like abroad during this period?
Would I travel? This time I haven't got anything planned, but I've sort of spoken to my friends beforehand,
Yeah.
and we might potentially go on a few hikes depending on what the weather's like.
You always want to get fit, sir, isn't it?
Always.
You always speak to us about push-ups and
100%, all the time.
Yeah, so you know how this time can be used for students to actually revise and catch up with some subjects. So do you have any advice for them?
Yep, 100%. I would say even though it's holiday season, you still want to maintain a good routine,
Yeah.
because no one ends up going to sleep at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning straight away.
Yeah.
You start off by sleeping maybe half an hour than you would usually on a weekday, and because you haven't got school for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
that just keeps on increasing.
Mhm.
And the next thing you know it's the 3rd of January,
Yeah. You're sleeping
and
at 12 a.m.
maybe some people even later, so it's very dangerous. So I would say to prevent that from happening, it has to start early.
Yeah.
I would say my best advice to the students would be to carry on sleeping early, carry on waking up early,
Yeah.
and try and stick to some sort of routine or
Mhm.
study timetable or schedule.
So do you have any book suggestions for this actually trying to read during this period?
100%. Nothing Christmassy or winter themed.
Yeah, nothing.
Um,
like that.
Maybe more so in line with my with my teaching subject.
Yeah.
So there's one book, if I could recommend someone to read. It's quite a short book. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's quite a very short book.
Alright.
It's about finance.
Alright. So I see if you guys are choosing business, I think this book would be a pretty good suggestion.
Business or economics, yeah.
Alright, so it's been a pleasure talking with you on this very, very special podcast.
Ashra, I'm very honoured for you to have me on here.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too.
So, it's our last podcast of 2025. How do you feel about it?
I think it's been a very good year for the podcast, actually. How about you?
Yeah, it's been pretty fun, actually. Quite more fun than I expected.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the podcast so far?
Thank you for all your support from March 2024.
We wish you a happy holidays and a healthy new year for 2026.